Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Kashif Kamran and welcome to Unlocking Success, where today I am investigating the study approach the students of AA should take for the next 30 days ahead of their March 2025 exams. Now, the very first thing which I believe the student should do now is to self-evaluate themselves because I always reinforce on this concept of self-evaluation when you are just a month away from your exams. Because self-evaluation will give you the right track and the right approach which you should be taking for your upcoming exams. The very first thing in self-evaluation is to ask yourself a question: where am I standing today? Now, each one of you will have a different answer to it. Some of you could be prepared by like 80 to 90%. Some could be prepared by 70 to 80%. Some could be around 50%. Now, you need to generate an answer. You need to evaluate where are you standing today and what is missing, what are gaps, what you need to overcome over the next 4 weeks you have for your exams. Now, once you get the answer of your self-evaluation, now you need to plan ahead. You need to ensure that whatever is remaining, you put that in a 4-week planner, and each week you give time to the remaining areas or to the practice or to the OTQs or to the mock exam or to the examiner articles or to the examiner report. You need to fill these things over the next 4 weeks to find that you're reaching your destination of the March 2025 exams very effectively. So I hope you will all do a self-evaluation. You will all analyze your situation today. You will all identify the challenges and obstacles you have over the next 4 weeks. How much time will you be giving daily, over the weekends, over a week, and then construct a very good looking timetable on which you stick to it, because that is very important. A lot of time I've seen students, they do make a timetable, but then they don't stick to it, then they don't implement it. It's not just about making a timetable, it's more about bringing that timetable into action. You can look at my picture in front of your screen. It not just tell you plan, it also tells you the actions. You need to climb the steps one by one up till the time you reach the March 25 exams. So please ensure you take a time out and do your self-evaluation carefully to understand where you are standing today. What is the ground reality? So then you can set up a launching pad for your exams. Now, I would be helping you focusing on some of the important things which I believe you should be focusing on over the next 30 days and should be part of your study planner. Weekly planner. I've just emphasized on that you need to devise a weekly plan for the next 4 weeks ahead of your exams, and each week is important. So you need to incorporate some very important goals in each week plan, and you need to accomplish those goals in order to reach your ultimate goal of March 2025 exam. Now, what sort of things could be in your weekly planner? What sort of things you need to focus on in the weekly planner apart from the results of your self-evaluation? Let's focus on that. Now, I believe that sitting today and looking into the next 30 days, number one, section A, very important part of your AA paper. How much OTQs should I be doing? It's like a frequently asked question. What amount of OTQs should I do so I feel reasonably assured that I will do better on the day of exam? That's number one question. And then those number of OTQs has to be divided over the next 4 weeks. Section B, which is the 70% of your paper. How many past papers should I do so I take that confidence of controlling and holding and doing the section B very well? And the number of questions in section B then has to be divided over the next 4 weeks. Mock exam, definitely that's one which the ACCA will publish. That's the March 25 mock, which will be published by ACCA and will be available on the ACCA practice platform on the 7th of Feb. So I would prefer that all of you are doing this mock exam because that is really important. And you should do mock at least like 5, 6 days before your real exam. And it should be within the time management because this is like a replication of your real exam coming up. So try to do the mock in the best of the exam environment within the time management. Examiner report, I would prefer that you do one examiner report and you critically review that one examiner report, download it. Take a printout of it, keep a pen with you, a paper with you. Just keep reading, underlining where you find issues and concerns of the examiner, the red flags of the examiner, where the examiner is not very happy with the students. Note them down, underline them, make a summary of the red flags, make a summary of the issues the examining team is very frustrated with, and try to ensure that when you are doing the practice ahead of your March 25 exams, you are not repeating the issues, you're not repeating the red flags which the examining team have highlighted in the examiner report. So one examiner report over the next 4 weeks. I hope that's not a difficult bargain. One mock over the next 4 weeks. Number of OTQs, I'll just be telling you that. Number of past papers to do for section B, I'll just be telling you that. And finally, some examiner articles. I always uh, emphasize on examiner articles. I always recommend my students of AA, AAA, and SPL to read technical articles because that's coming directly from the examining team and you're getting the examiner mindset. So every article you read, you're getting the mindset of your examiner. You're getting to know what's going in the mind of your examiner about the topic. Now, there are a number of articles available for AA, and I will be recommending some of them to be read. So that should be going into your 4 week planner. So let's see the number of OTQs we need to do over the next 4 weeks, the number of past papers for section B we need to do for in terms of the next 4 weeks, one mock, one examiner report, and the number of articles we need to do. So that would all then be divided over the next 4 weeks. So you have a good looking planner to attack upon. OTQs, sorry, first the technical articles. In terms of the technical articles first, there are total 14 technical articles available on the AA website where the resources are available on ACCA website. Of those 14 technical articles, I would recommend that you're going with 10 of them. I'll just tell you which one. So there are total 14 articles divided under 5 syllabus areas of AA, of which 10 to me are very important and should not be skipped. Number one, laws and regulation under syllabus area A, risk and understanding the entity under syllabus area B, audit risk under B, audit working paper under B, specific aspects of auditing in a computer-based environment under syllabus area C, audit of wages. You know, payroll is such an important area in the AA paper, and particularly this article has been written from the side of internal controls around payroll, control weaknesses, control deficiencies, direct controls over the payroll. So this is important article. Audit of assertions, you know, assertions are important. Mostly they're tested into OT questions. So you should be very familiar with audit of assertions from this particular article under syllabus area D. Audit report under syllabus area E. We know very few marks comes for audit report in section B, roughly 5 to 6, but you should be very good on that. Going concern, again, that's an important area. You should be very clear about the going concern knowledge and about subsequent events. You know, that comes quite repetitively in one of the question in section B, along with audit report. 10 articles. Each article will give you examples. Each article will give you an example of how it will be tested in AA. Each will give you the technical knowledge or the technical grasp you need at the back of your mind when you're solving the papers, attempting the papers, doing the mock exam, and then doing the real exam. The time you will be putting in these 10 articles would be valuable, and you will realize that when you do your real exam that it was so important to read these 10 articles. So please ensure you take time out, read these articles, make a summary of them, at least one page summary for each of these, and just revise that one page summary a day and two before your real exams. So 10 articles, and that has to be divided over the next 4 weeks, right? So that again, that's not a difficult situation. So even if you read like 2 articles a week or 3 articles a week, you're done with it, right? So ten articles to be read over the next 4 weeks. Now the OTQs, section A. We know section A is important, but generally the student perform not very well on section A. Either they are in a rush, they're in a panic, they just want to get over the section A as quickly as possible in the exam paper. There is a total 54 minutes of the time you have for section A of the 180 minutes you have in the exam. So 54 minutes is basically the 30% of the 180 minutes. So 54 minutes is to be spent on section A. Do it wisely. Uh, give good time to section A and don't just rush, because if you're rushing over section A, there are significant chances of you marking the wrong answer for your OTQ. Give proper time, increase the prospects of getting more marks from the section A of the paper. Now, 220 OTQs. If you have done uh, the list I will be sharing with you, that's fine. If you're not yet done it, you have still 4 weeks to do them. First of all, there are 170 OT questions which are available on ACCA Study Hub, which I consider as the first resource which you should be attacking on. If you have done these 170 OT questions, which are divided into 31 subtopics over the ACCA Study Hub, you're good. If you're not yet done it, go to the ACCA Study Hub, go to the AA resources, and then just look into the practice area. And in the practice area, you will find these 170 OT questions, which are important to be done. Examiner reports. Download the examiner reports, the latest 6, starting from September, December 24 examiner report, March, June 24 examiner report, September, December 23 examiner report, March, June 23 examiner report, then September, December 22, March, June 22, and September, December 21. So in that case, you will be going through 7 examiner reports. Each examiner report contains 5 OT questions. They tell you that this is the type of OT questions which have come in that exam setting. They even give you the right answers and they give you the reason of the right answers. You can learn a lot. So every examiner report, again, I know this is a document which students don't read it all. This is a document which the student might say, oh, we've never heard about it. Examiner report is such a valuable resource, and you need to go to the examiner reports for AA, and you need to download these 7 examiner reports on your screen from the latest to the earliest. In every examiner report, you will find a section A, and in that you will find 5 OT questions. So 7 reports, 5 OTQs. So 7 fives are 35, and you will get 35 OTQs from there. And then you move on and you will get your mock, the March mock. 7th of February, the ACCA will be releasing the March mock. And in the March mock, you will be having the 15 OTQs in the section A. So that is important. Now count them up. 170 on Study Hub, 35 from examiner reports, and 15 from the mock exam coming up. So that makes the list to 220 OTQs. You have to do it. Now, self-evaluate yourself. Out of these 220, how many have you done and how many are remaining? Then you have to distribute them over the next 4 weeks. So 220 OTQs over the next 4 weeks. Next, section B. Such an important section, 70% in weightage, and plays a crucial part in your success and failure. If you've just underperformed on section A, you can recover from section B. And the good thing with section B is there's a lot of repetition in section B. So if you have practiced decent amounts of past papers, you will be very good into section B. Section B of the AA weighs 70% of the paper. And the time allocated for this will be 126 minutes of the 180 minutes you have, of which 54 minutes will be for the 30 marks question, and then 36 minutes each for each of the 20 marks question you have. So that's the split of the time. I've already given you a split for section A. that's 54 minutes. So that's how you're accumulating your 180 minutes in the exam paper, 30%, 70%, and you're dividing that time in proportionate. And then from 126 minutes, the distribution to the 30 marks question and the 20 marks question is being given. Time management is important, and stop and move on strategy is always successful to optimize your opportunities to excel in the paper rather than putting extra time on one question and killing opportunities in other. I just don't like students who run after completing one question at the expense of others. You need to maximize opportunities in every question. Every question has a time. Question for 30 marks has 54 minutes. So where 54 minutes are ended, stop and move on because you have more opportunities in the next 20 marks question. Then stop and move on to the next 20 marks question. In that way, you're maximizing your opportunities to score better rather than just excelling on one question and coming out of the exam hall saying, I've done 80% of the paper. That's very bad. So please ensure you're maximizing the opportunities. You're not killing the opportunities in the other questions in order to just complete one question excellent in an excellent manner. Now, some of the core topics which are examined and quite regularly examined, not just in last 5 exam settings, but quite regularly over the last many years of AA. Audit risk and responses, that's such a core area in Section B. Quality control weaknesses and recommendation. This is something which is recently coming in, and I believe this will continue over the next few exam settings because this is an area which has started to be tested in recent sittings since its introduction in AA, and this will continue to play a crucial part. So number 2 to me is very important. Number 3, control weaknesses, recommendations, key controls, and direct controls. You know how habitual that area is. Substantive procedure is another mainstay area. Implication for the audit report, we get like 5 marks on that. Adjusting and non-adjusting events and their implication for the audit report, and knowledge around CAM. Knowledge around CAM is more or less repetitive. I hope you've seen the past papers for that. Governance, weaknesses, and recommendation. At times, we do get questions on governance, weaknesses, and recommendations. Be familiar with that. And some knowledge testing questions in Section B. We know in Section B, knowledge testing is important. You do get I think out of the 70 marks you have in Section B, roughly 10 to 14 marks are on knowledge testing. You cannot deny that. And you need to be excellent on that. I'll be giving you a list of knowledge testing shortly. But these are important areas which has been dominant in the recent sittings of the AA exams. And I just illustrated this through this pie chart. If you look at this pie chart of the last 5 exam sittings, the most significant part of that is 29%, which is coming from substantive procedure. Look at that substantive procedure, 29%, the biggest chunk in the pie chart of Section B in the last 5 sittings. So you need to be very good on substantive procedures. The next is 24%, which is audit risk. We know audit risk and audit responses is a regular part of Section B. Then you look at 16%, which is control deficiencies and recommendations. Again, we know that's quite a common area. Then after that is audit report and direct controls and test of controls, making 7% each of the pie chart. Knowledge is 11%. So you see, you cannot just ignore that. Knowledge is 11%. So that's the 4th most important area in the pie chart. Then quality management is just 3% because it started coming recently. And governance weaknesses and recommendation is another 3%. So this is how it should look like. So if you're preparing yourself, you should give a good time on substantive audit risk, control deficiencies and recommendation, knowledge areas as the 4 most important ones, and then move around the pie chart and move around the list of the topics I've given you as more important. Now, in terms of quality management, what we have seen is that in recent exam papers, examining team has started to give you a question on quality management. You should be well versed with it. You must have solved it, and you know the way to write the answer. Just to give you an idea, this is the type of questions which have come in and would continue in 2025 as well. March-June 24 exam paper, and there was a question asking, identify and explain 3 quality management deficiencies in the approach adopted by Teal and Company and provide a recommendation which would address each deficiency. So weakness, deficiency, and how to overcome that. So that was one question in March, June 24. In March, June 23, in line with ISA 220, Quality Management for an Audit of Financial Statement, describe the auditor responsibility in relation to supervising and reviewing the work performed during the external audit of LAPIS. You need to write the answers for these two questions. One of them could repeat in your exam. We know there's a lot of repetition in section B. Do these two questions. You must know the answers of these two questions, and you're very clear what the examining team is asking here. So ensure you write the answers for these two, and you would regret if you don't do it. Then another area is CAM, where we have seen quite a repetition in terms of knowledge being tested around CAM. Describe the factors which the audit engagement partner would consider in determining whether the issue is a CAM, and describe the content of CAM in the section of the audit report. So this is a favorite question of the examining team, asking you the content of CAM and describing you that what sort of factors the engagement partner would consider in deciding whether the matter is a CAM. You should know the answer for this because this is a repetitive question from CAM. So CAM, quality management, these are areas where you can score upon, and you should have definite answers to these questions. The last one is the knowledge questions. In terms of the knowledge questions, what you can do is define a significant deficiency in internal control. We know that question comes a lot. And describe 4 methods the auditor would consider in determining whether a deficiency is significant or not. So what is a significant deficiency and what matters the auditor would consider in determining whether a deficiency is significant? Number 3, describe the preconditions of an audit. Number 4, describe the 5 components of an internal control system. Number 5, explain the purpose of the audit engagement letter and list 4 items which should be included in an audit engagement letter. List 4 control objectives of a sales system. It could be of any system. 4 control objectives of purchase system, of payroll system. Please be sure of that. In line with ISA 220 quality management, describe the auditor responsibility in relation to supervising and reviewing the work performed. So this is from the quality management again, but this is the knowledge question. Briefly explain how sources of information will be used by the audit firm to gain understanding of the client's knowledge of business. From which sources will you take knowledge of business? Number 9, explain the responsibility of the audit firm under ISA 250, consideration of laws and regulations. So what is the auditor responsibility for laws and regulation? Look at this list. This is such an important list of 9 questions which are frequently coming. So be sure that you're not missing on the knowledge areas. You're not missing on the answers of the knowledge area. They contribute 11% of the total pie chart in the last 5 settings. I've given you a glance of the CAM questions, which you should know, and I've given you a glance of the quality management questions. Rest, you know the questions around audit risk and responses, direct controls, test of control, key controls, you know questions around weaknesses in governance and recommendations, etc. Now, how many past papers can give you that assurance? I would believe 7 past papers, recent 7. So I believe that you have to do the recent 7 papers on section B. And you know, each section B consists of 3 questions. So 7 past papers multiplied by 3 questions, that's like 21 questions from section B. And that 21 questions needs to be spread over next 4 weeks. And you will be excellent gaining confidence about what's coming recently in section B, knowledge areas, the main areas. So if you do the recent 7 papers starting from September, December 24 and going backward, you will be all in an excellent mode. Let me just give you a final checklist of how it should be. Just let me. Okay, just let's do it here. Okay, I hope I can add a slide over here. And you can all look into it. And just let's write over here, that's what's your 4-week planner now. I think your 30 days planner, which you need to divide over 4 weeks, a 30-day planner divided into 4 weeks. You have to do it. But what is in it? Number one, first of all, it has 220 OTQs, which I've just informed you. You know how to go about them. Then I've given you 10 articles to read over the next 4 weeks. I've given you one examiner report to read. That's the most latest one, September, December 24, to identify the reasons why students fail. One mock exam you have to do, that's the March mock exam the ACCA will be publishing. One mock exam, that's the March 25 one. And then I've given you for section B. For section B, do 7 most recent papers, and you will start from September, December 24 being the latest one and go backwards and complete the 7. Go backwards. So in 7 papers you do, every section B will have 3 questions. So 7 multiplied by 3 is equal to 21 questions. Now these 5 things need to be self-evaluated. What have you done? What is remaining? If all is remaining, divide that over the 4 weeks. Now, but some of the students might say we've already done 50% of it. Only 50% is remaining, so let's do it. So you need to self-evaluate. You need to see that the list given in front of your screen, what is still remaining of this list, and then divide this over the next 4 weeks. Again, revising it, 220 OTQs, 10 articles to read, one examiner report, one mock exam, and in section B, 7 recent papers, 7 multiplied by 3, 21. So that's how it should look like. So if you do these 21 questions, you will gain confidence on audit risk, responses, direct controls, test of controls, substantive procedures, knowledge areas, governance, weaknesses, CAM, and you will be very good in even in reporting. So you will be excellent controlling that pie chart, which I've just shown you of the last 5 exam settings. So I hope this is the wise strategy you should all be adopting for your upcoming March 25 AA exam paper. And stay tuned for more exam focused videos coming your way for AA, which includes my solution to September, December 24 exam paper, but that would be exclusively available to my paid students only. But in terms of my free content, I will be releasing an investigation into the examiner report, and I will be releasing my exam techniques. What student do wrong in section B? What student do wrong in an audit risk question, in a substantive procedure questions? A lot of such techniques will be coming your way over the next week and so. But the September, December 24 paper and the solution of that will be exclusively available to my own students. So wish you all the very best of luck. I hope you study effectively, and every day from now onward is important. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.